Welcome back. I'm Pat, that Halloween movie collector. And today we're going to figure out, why is Halloween so good? If you follow this channel, you know who I am. Just look behind me. You know how much I love this film. But I was thinking about a couple different movies the other day, and this is what I do. That's all messed up in the head. And I'm thinking, what makes Halloween so good? You know, I was thinking of other movies, so I'm probably going to do this with some other films that I was thinking about too. But I was going through my head and frame by frame of the way the movie plays out. And why is everybody so fascinated with this film? Why am I so fascinated with this film? What made you fascinated with this film? What brought you to this level of fandom with Halloween, where maybe you're somebody like me, where you're constantly wearing Halloween t-shirts and hats, and you have an entire basement filled with memorabilia, or you go to age 45 like I just did, or just watch the films religiously and talk about them. Why? What makes it so good? Well, I was sitting here thinking of several different topics of why it's so good, and let's talk about it. Simplicity. It's simple. It's a simple story. Just tells you of a child who, for whatever reason, which in the first film we don't find out why, what made him snap? What made him go and kill his sister? What made him become a mute, essentially? What essentially made him become a predator, an animal? Because it was an animal instinct, an urge to kill. Why? That's the most frightening aspect of this film. You don't know why. And that's more scary than anything, because you're always looking for an answer. You're always looking for a reason why something happens. And here, you watch this film, you don't get it. So that was frightening on its own. Very simple story of a child who, for whatever reason, just snaps, kills his sister, gets put away for 15 years. 15 years later, right before he's to be tried as an adult, he escapes the night of his where he's being picked up to stand trial. And he just breaks out, and what does he do? He goes right back to his old habits. He becomes a stalker and becomes a predator, like an animal. Simplicity at its finest. Shock value. Now, first time I saw this film, I can even tell you the date. For those who follow me, I can tell you the whole story, but I'm not going to do it again ad nauseum. First saw this in 1980. Now you see the intro of this film. Starts out with the pumpkin credits, and then boom, then all of a sudden we're in the point of view of somebody, and at this time we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know it's a killer. So we're seeing a point of view of somebody basically stalking a girl and a boyfriend. Don't know who it is. We pan around and follow. We come inside the house, so you can assume it's somebody that lives there, but you don't have to assume. It could just be a stalker coming into this house to kill somebody. Now you follow him through his eyes upstairs. He kills, and now your first inkling that it's somebody she knows when she says, Michael. Now she knows who her killer is, and then you're still wondering. He walks down the stairs, comes out. His father pulls his mask off, Michael, and you find out it's a 6-year-old child. When I first saw this film, it's like I was 8 years old when I first saw this film. So Michael had been 2 years younger than me. So shock value, boom, it's a 6-year-old child who just snapped and killed his teenage sister. And you're like, well, what the hell is that all about? And this film has a lot of shock value in it. Shock value when you see him break out later. Shock value of seeing the iconic mask for the first time. And shock value of the way this film ends. But we're going to get to that too. Feel. This movie feels like it's autumn. It feels... Those that know their Halloween history, this was filmed in, West Hollywood rather, and Pasadena. This was not filmed in and around the Illinois, Chicago area. It was not filmed in the Midwest. But kudos to Carpenter and Company for making this feel like it was autumn. You felt like every time you watch this, it gives you fall vibes. It gives you Halloween vibes. It feels like it's Halloween time. And just the way it's shot, the way it looks, the way it's lit, it just absolutely gives you that feel. So you feel like you're watching a film that's taking place around Halloween time. Characters. You need good characters in a film. memorable characters. And these characters in this film are absolutely memorable. If you're a Halloween fan, you know everybody in this film. Granted, it was a low-budget film, not a lot of characters. Theory behind it is you get a bunch of people, little by little they get killed off, and they're off your payroll. Essentially, it's a low-budget film. But the characters are iconic, and you relate to them. You know their history, and you see that they feel like they're actual friends. And it does feel like small-town America, the way Carpenter, well, actually more so Deborah Hill, created their characters and their dialogue. So it feels like you're invested in these people, and it's just a typical autumn day. Halloween. They're just going about their business, talking about going to school, talking about going to the dance, cheerleading practice. Character development in this film, perfect. Dialogue, just like I just mentioned, dialogue. Without good dialogue, a movie sucks. I mean, you can see some films and the dialogue is cringy. This dialogue feels like it is just simple people talking. You know, people have dissected this film over and over again, and it's the dialogue between the girls seems like they're just friends, and they're just chatting away just like they're going to school. Even talking to Sheriff Brackett, interacting with his daughter. Laurie's at school with the teacher and the kids. It all feels very organic the way the dialogue is in this whole film. Even later, as they're babysitting, they're relating to the children that they're babysitting. This could just be any old time, and it just feels like they're speaking. It doesn't even feel like anybody's acting. Pacing. This film paced very well. I mean, it has its flaws. Go watch my video on 69 mistakes in Halloween. Not necessarily mistakes, goofs, gaffes, mistakes, whatever. It's the charm of this film. But pacing, it builds up. It gives you a shock. Wow, holy shit, this 6-year-old child just killed this girl. Stabbed her to death. And then, boom, it mellows out, and then we start getting introduced to everybody. You meet the friends, you meet Dr. Loomis, you realize who he is. He's on his way to try to stop Michael. He has a hunch of where he's going. So pacing, little by little. Then the girls are walking home. They interact with them. Laurie sees him again, and it basically builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up. She's basically cornered at the film. The pacing just builds up perfectly in this film. Atmosphere lends itself to just what I said too about the feel. The atmosphere, the way it's lit, it feels, it's more so the atmosphere at night. I remember I grew up in a small town, and this always felt like this could be in my town when I was a kid, because it was the way the night was lit. Like where I live in rural Pennsylvania. There's no street lights. It's dark as hell out right now. I walked the streets, and there was street lights. There was houses right next to each other. The streets were lined with trees, just like Halloween. So I remember as a kid after watching this, and it could have been my town. The atmosphere, the nighttime lighting. Shout out to Dean Cundy with the use of the blue lighting to give it that look of that lit up look from the moon. Atmosphere, perfect. Along with the atmosphere, the lighting. It's like I said, the blue light at night, the shadows, the way everything was projected. The way Myers is lit when he's rack focus. He's out of focus. Then all of a sudden he's in focus. The infamous scene where he's standing in the doorway behind Laurie when she's crying, and they just turn on the dimmer, and it slowly lights up his face. The lighting, especially on Myers' mask and the way he stalks, is just perfect in this film. Going along with the pacing, the tension. So there's several encounters at the end. Now, you remember when she first encounters Myers, when she discovers Annie's body, the tension right there, like I just mentioned with the lighting. You see his face finally lit up in the back, and he attacks her and stabs her in the arm, and she goes over the railing. The tension is unbelievable. It's amplified by Carpenter's incredible score as he's just chasing her through the Wallace house. The tension behind the door, he beats the door open. She's trying to get through the kitchen door to get out and run, and then she's running, and then the tension of seeing him come across the street. And what is he doing? He's not running at her. He's not yelling at her. He's just walking. It's just the tension of him just, I'm gonna get you. I don't need to run. I will get you. The tension is perfect. Gets inside the house. Several other encounters. Just amazing, the third act of this film. And last but not least, finale. The way this film ended. Going back to when I first saw it as a 8-year-old boy back in 1980. All the encounters, what we just talked about, the tension of him trying to get at Laurie to get her and kill her. And then she's rescued at the last minute by Dr. Loomis. And you breathe a sigh of relief. It's over. He killed him. So you can see the look on, played brilliantly by Donald Pleasence, the late, great Donald Pleasence, look on his face of almost relief as he's walking towards that balcony to look over to say, hey, there's his dead body. He's got that look of relief like, then he looks over, and what do you see? Finale. Boom. He's gone. You're like, what the fuck? You just shot him 6 times. He's been stabbed. I mean, what do you... What? And the look on Loomis's face, much of you guys who know the history, Carpenter... Donald Pleasence said to Carpenter, I could play this 2 ways. I could play this, oh my God, he's gone. Like, or I knew this would happen. And I knew this would happen was the brilliant choice. Because the look on Donald Pleasence's face when he's looking out into the sky like he could be anywhere before we start getting all the different scenes of all the locations where he was and where he could be to send you out into the nighttime saying, hey, he could be anywhere out there. That's why this film scared the shit out of me as an 8-year-old kid. Because I left... It worked perfectly. After we watched the film, I'm thinking, my God, he could be upstairs. He could be in my closet. He could be in my bedroom. He could be outside right now. He could be in the back seat of my dad's car. Brilliantly. Worked perfectly, the finale of this film. So that is why Halloween is so good. Let me know your thoughts. Are you a Halloween fan? I mean, I assume if you're watching this channel, you subscribe to this channel, you have to be a Halloween fan. It's right in the title. But there's a lot of other things on this channel. And I was thinking about probably going to do a couple more films about why I think they're so good. And probably do a couple movies where, why does this movie suck? Not every movie's great. There's a lot of movies that I think suck. And I would have no qualms talking about how much they suck. But let's start on a positive note and say, okay, why is this so good? Halloween is so good. It's been a part of my life for 44 years right now. I mean... on a daily basis, it revolves around my life. I love this franchise, love the fans. It's a great community of people. And I figured if I'm going to do a video where I'm talking about a film saying, why is this so good? Where else to start except with Halloween? So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed sitting through all this. Do me a favor, if you like this, hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. There's a lot of Halloween content on here. If you're tuning in just simply because you're a Halloween fan, there's a ton of Halloween shit on here, and there's always Halloween stuff that's to come. We do podcasts, we do watch-alongs, do some music. I do a lot of music stuff on here. Big Kiss fan. Big Kiss fans out there. Do me a favor. If you like it, you want to come back, you want to hit that notification, subscribe first, hit those notifications, and try to put out a video or 2 a week, and we do our podcast on Sunday nights, and we do our watch-alongs on Tuesday nights. So thanks for hanging out, watching this. I hope you're a big Halloween fan, because Halloween is good. Actually, it's not good. It's great. And I'll see you in the next one. Talk to you soon.